I am shocked that after 8, 9 years of being a mental performance coach and helping over 400 athletes perform to their potential, I've only to date had just one athlete reach out to me proactively to get their mental game dialed in. And guess what? They went from being an engineer to being a pro golfer and having their Latin American tour card within 7 months. What's my point? My point is that everyone that seems to contact me contacts me at the last final moment. Some people are falling out of love for the game. That's when they reach out to me. That's when their parents reach out to me. Other athletes lose a huge opportunity, a huge contract, and then that's when they reach out to me. That's when they reach out to me. Why is it? Why is it that so many athletes reach out and fix or work on their mental game at the final hour? It's the last thing they do. They work on their fundamentals, of course, their nutrition, physicality. And then, after all of it, they reach out to a mental performance coach. And these are the same people that also see the memes that remind us that 90% of sports are mental. I've interviewed athletes, coaches, and I don't even ask the question anymore. I have asked multiple coaches and athletes, what percentage of sports is mental? And on average, between 70 and 90% is the answer. Some has said 95%. I've even had a couple say it's 100. The truth is this. What's holding most athletes back from realizing that everything follows the mental side? Everything stems from how you look at things and your perspective. The way you view the world is how you experience it, right? This is called perspective. The way that you think determines the way you feel, and that determines the actions you take, the behaviors you have, and therefore the results you get or do not get. Sports are mental. If you don't have a holistic approach to your performance as an athlete, and you go too heavy in the fundamentals, too heavy in the physical, overdose on nutrition, and you don't add the mental, you're making a ridiculously huge mistake that could either cost you 10, 15, 20 years of effort that you've put in. 15 years, 20 years of commitment. Weekends driving to and from practice. Weekends going to a travel event. 2, 3, 4, 7, who knows? Maybe it's a flight and it's 10 hours to get there and 10 to get back. But either way, it blows my mind. It blows my mind how many athletes call me at the final hour. What's going on here? Why am I getting these emergency calls? I literally have people contacting me saying, is there any way we can talk right now? Well, is there any way we could have talked in the last 15, 20 years? These issues that athletes have, they compound. And the reason they compound is it's all about the nervous system, right? We are training the body to become the mind. That's when our body starts to react to situations. We start to perceive things as a threat. We start to have our body get tight. We become hesitant, inconsistent. We play scared. Sometimes we don't even, there's literally some athletes. There's one athlete, I don't remember his name. He was a catcher in baseball. And this is years ago. He got to the point where something happened and triggered it in his mind and his body where there was a wiring issue. The connection between the two somehow became broken, and he struggled to throw a baseball and release his hand, okay? The mental game is real. There is no other way to optimize your performance, especially when you get to the elite level, than to look into your mental game. Because what we start to find is, and there's plenty of evidence to support this, that athletes that get to a higher level all start to have very similar fundamentals. They start to have similar nutrition plans. They have similar fitness coaches. So the one thing that often distinguishes pro athletes at the highest level is their ability to self-regulate. Can they manage their emotions? If you're an F1 driver and you make a mistake, what is the time that it takes you to get back, to bounce back to normalcy? and regain focus on the task at hand? How much I watched a UConn game the other day, and I see some of these players where a mistake happens and their body language has been changed for 1, 2, 3, sometimes up to 5 minutes. That is unacceptable. It is unacceptable. It is unacceptable at the highest level, especially when there are ways to counteract this from happening. Athletes know that this is mental, but there's a reason why they don't seek assistance, knowledge, skills, training on the mental game. And it's for one simple reason. I see it all the time. It's ego. It's ego. Oh man, I'm not broken. I don't need that. Okay, well, you're still bent over the girlfriend that broke up with you, who should have, from 4 years ago. Is that not mental? The last time someone said something to you about you that wasn't right, you let it get to you, so you let external opinions matter more than your own. Do you think that might be something you need to work on? Listen, I'm not here to shame, guilt, or embarrass anyone. That's not what I do. I do the reverse. But what do I have to say or do to shake and grab people and say, listen, there is an opportunity that is within arm's reach for you, and you can either figure it out on your own, you can go, I can send you 100 videos you can watch. I can send you a whole bunch of information that you can explore on your own, or the fast track is to hire someone that does it every day and has the skills to get you where you need to go. There's plenty of us. There's me, there's others. I don't even care whether you work with me or not. I really don't care. But just talk to someone. Just even start the process of reading a book. Read Psycho-Cybernetics. Read Think and Grow Rich. Listen to a couple Tony Robbins videos. He's got some stuff. Explore what NLP is, right? There's a body language expert. Study him. There's a lot to learn there. There are so many opportunities for you to become a better version of yourself. And here's the thing. Most of the skills that you learn that assist you as an athlete are the exact same skills that will help you form stronger partnerships and relationships. Now, if you're an athlete, you know the value of partnerships. Some of these contracts are for a couple $100,000. Maybe it's only 10 grand. Maybe it's a couple million. Maybe it's 50 million. But your relationship with yourself dictates the relationship you have with others. So what's that relationship like? Do you understand the ego? Do you understand why you say and think the way that you do? Say the things you do, think the way you do, feel the way you do? Do you understand the relationship between thoughts and feelings? Do you understand what being in the present moment even is? Or, my favorite question, you say you're not confident. Do you even know what confidence is? Do you know what creates it? Do you know what destroys it? Right? At what point do we all remove the stigma and wake the hell up and realize there's no shame in this game, right? I literally do this for a living, and I still every single day check in with myself, and I catch these versions of myself, my 7-year-old self, my 9-year-old self, the one thing that happened when I was 15 and this and that, and realizing how it impacts me as a modern day man with gray hair on my beard. And you know what? There's no shame in it. There's plenty of awareness, and that awareness is enlightening, right? I start to gain knowledge about how I think, how I feel, and then what I can start to do is use some of the tools that I have that I've learned over 8, 10, 12 years. I can use these tools to create change, right? And it all starts with awareness. It's awareness of your thought patterns, awareness of your emotional patterns, you know? Why do you do the things you do? Why do you keep telling yourself a story that doesn't serve you? Could you separate yourself from the story? One of my favorite things to tell people is there's a situation and there's a story. And most people don't realize that the situation on its own pretty much has no value in many cases. The situation is just the situation. But where things get complicated is when you add a story to it. And that story is typically aligned with some sort of belief that oftentimes can be limiting, like I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy, mistakes and failure are bad. These are 3 common limiting beliefs. Now all of a sudden I create a story, I think in a way, and talk to myself in a way, call it self-talk, and I create a narrative in my mind about something that happened or something I didn't get, And now all of a sudden I go off on this tangent. And then the worst part is I create a story based on a belief that's not even true. Most of the beliefs we have, don't forget what a belief is. A belief is a thought that you've had so many times and you've allowed it to be adopted as true that it's internalized. And you literally lied to yourself so many times and you keep telling yourself the same lie over and over and over and over and over and over and over again that you eventually believe it. And when we go from thought to belief, that belief then creates the thoughts of our future. So the thoughts in the past that we incorrectly believed become internalized, and they now become our narratives that guide us in the present moment and into the future down the same path. And then therefore we get the same results. When you think the same way and believe the same way and talk to yourself the same way and then feel the same way, you're going to have the same behaviors and you're going to do the same things. So how do you break free from this? It all starts with awareness. You want to learn one thing? I'll give you one freebie right now. Become aware of your patterns. Expose the lies. What lies have you been telling yourself? Why have you been so hesitant to invest 20 seconds, 30 seconds, maybe even 3 damn minutes into your mental game a day? Is it too much to ask? Is it? Seriously, I want you to stop for a second. Hit the damn pause button right now and you tell me, is 3 minutes of your time too much? Am I asking a little bit too much? Am I being a little disrespectful and a little bit angry? I just don't get it. Here's what I got to say. Change the way that you think, you'll change the way you feel. Change your perspective, and the things you look at change. Everything is about the mental game, the way you perceive things. If it snows outside and it gets you bent, it ain't the snow that's causing the problem. It's the story you created about it. If all of a sudden you lose a partner for 2, 3, or maybe you lose a $5 million contract, well, what's your story about that? One of the most empowering things that I always say to my clients and myself is it should have happened because it did. It should have happened because it did. At what point are we going to accept responsibility? At what time are we going to start taking ownership? At what point do we start to realize that our power is in taking ownership? Our power is in feeling a little bit of that pain and discomfort of like, you know what? My emotions have cost me in my career. I am a reactive person. I don't really listen as well to people as I should because I think I'm a know-it-all, right? There's no shame in exposing those demons, or I don't even call them demons. They're just habits, if we're being honest. They're just habitual patterns of thinking, acting, and responding to the environment around you. And all that is a wiring issue. I'm basically a mind-body electrician. All I do is I find circuits that are wired incorrectly and I rewire them. That's it. That's it. I'm a body electrician. Never used that phrase before, but it kind of makes sense. So you can either do it on your own or you can get help. Reach out to someone like me or even someone that competes with me. Don't care. But what I do care about is this. Stop for a moment and just look in the mirror. Be like, what really is holding me back? Is it really my nutrition? Is it really my fitness? Is it the fact that my vehicle's not fast enough? Or just maybe, I'm part of my problem, which, by the way, means you're also part of the solution. Hope this resonates. If it doesn't, I wish you all the best. Have a great day.